Hello, this is Joe Orlando, president of PSA and longtime collector. Some collectors still think of the 1980s as a cardboard wasteland, but the 1980s offered a better crop of football rookies than any other decade. 9 of the NFL Network's top 25 NFL players of all time, which was formed in 2010, made their cardboard debuts in the 1980s, 3 times more than any other decade. Hobbyists are likely to tab the 1982 Topps Lawrence Taylor, 1982 Topps Ronnie Lott, 1984 Topps Dan Marino, and 1989 score Barry Sanders as 4 of the most coveted rookies of the 1980s, which they are, but each of these cards is relatively easy to track down in PSA-10. So, what are some of the other coveted rookies from the 1980s that are elusive in PSA-10 condition? Let's take a look at 5 stars and 5 sleepers going in reverse chronological order. Let's start with the star list. At number 5, the 1986 Topps Jerry Rice. Named the greatest player of all time by the NFL Network in 2010, Rice made his cardboard debut in the green-bordered 1986 Topps issue, one that is tough to locate without chipping and wear along the edges. Before Megatron and Odell Beckham Jr. filled the highlight reels, Rice established the standard for excellence at the receiver position. With over 1,500 career receptions and more than 200 total touchdowns, Rice is what all other wide receivers strive to be. This card is by no means scarce. A whopping 15,543 have been graded by PSA, but it's very difficult to track down in the PSA-10 grade. There are just 49 PSA-10 examples to date, with a handful of examples selling for nearly $11,000 at auction in 2014. Next up on the list, the 1986 Topps Steve Young. Steve Young, once the backup to quarterback icon Joe Montana, created his own legacy after a tremendous run during the 1990s. This 2-time NFL MVP won 3 Super Bowls and retired with the best passer rating in football history. Although many consider his 1984 Topps USFL single to be his true rookie card, Young's 1986 Topps NFL debut is one of the decade's most evasive cards in PSA-10. The green borders on the 1986 Topps cards are prone to chipping. Of the 4,791 Young cards evaluated, just 4 have been deemed PSA-10s. Next on the list, the 1984 Topps USFL Reggie White. Pictured here in PSA-9, that's how tough the 10s are. This 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year was selected to a remarkable 13 Pro Bowls and 10 first-team All-Pro squads after a brief career in the USFL. White, one of the best defensive players in NFL history, was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2006. Issued solely in factory sets, the 1984 Topps USFL cards were reportedly printed in significantly smaller quantities than their NFL counterparts. And while the debut singles of Hall of Fame quarterbacks Steve Young and Jim Kelly are often mentioned first when discussing the 1984 Topps USFL set, it is White's rookie that is the most elusive in pristine condition. The White is often found with poor left-to-right centering and print defects. One PSA-10 White rookie fetched $3,500 in August of 2014. Next on the list, the 1984 Topps John Elway. This 2-time Super Bowl champion set the standard for comeback victories during his career with 47 fourth-quarter rallies to his credit. After throwing 300 career touchdowns and accumulating more than 50,000 passing yards, Elway would eventually be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2004. You might be surprised to learn that PSA-10 Elway rookies generally sell for about 3 times the price of Dan Marino rookies from the same set. The Elway rookie is more difficult to find in high grade due to annoying print defects, which are commonly found along the face of the card. There are 79 PSA-10 Elway rookies and 250 Marino cards to date, supporting the price premium. Our final star rookie, the 1981 Topps Joe Montana. The first card of the legendary 49ers quarterback consistently commands more than any other 1980s gridiron rookie. Despite the gaudy numbers put up by some of the active NFL quarterbacks, Joe Montana is still regarded by most as the best in history. In 14 seasons, Montana led his team to 10 postseason berths, 8 division titles, and 4 Super Bowl victories. Of the 12,600 submitted to PSA for authentication and grading, just 76 have been deemed PSA-10s as of December of 2014. Print defects and poor centering sometimes plague this card. The price of this card in PSA-10 has gone up significantly. While it was possible to acquire this card in the $5,000 range just within the last couple of years, a PSA-10 Montana sold for $14,954 in December of 2014, and several others have closed north of $10,000 in recent months. Switching gears for a moment, let's look at the top 5 sleepers of the decade. First up, the 1986 Topps Andre Reed and Bruce Smith cards. Both Reed and Smith were integral members of the 4 Buffalo Bills teams that advanced to the Super Bowl in the early 1990s, and both have rookies in the tough green-bordered 1986 Topps set. Reed was an exceptional receiver who landed in the Hall of Fame in 2014. While Smith, a Hall of Famer himself, is considered one of the best defensive ends ever, retiring with more career sacks than any other player at 200. With 39 PSA-10s, the Reed single is more readily available in high grade. There are just 23 PSA-10 Smith rookies, one of which garnered $710 on eBay in September of 2014. With the dramatic rise in value of high-grade Rice and Young cards from the same set, the value of these 2 cards could follow suit to a lesser extent. Next on the list, the 1985 Topps Richard Dent. This legendary defensive ends rookie is a key single in the condition-sensitive black-bordered 1985 Topps football set. In 2011, Dent, a member of the 100 Sack Club, was recognized for his defensive excellence by being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This 2-time Super Bowl champion put on one of the best defensive performances in history during Chicago's terrific 1985 campaign. During the regular season, Dent posted 17 sacks, recovered 2 fumbles, and had 2 interceptions, but it was his postseason work that became legendary. The Bears would shut out both playoff opponents before winning it all against New England in a landslide, a game where Dent would be named Super Bowl MVP. So far, only 13 PSA Dent rookies have been graded. One fetched $1,000 on eBay in August of 2014. Next on the list, the 1983 Yago, or Jogo, depending on how you pronounce it, Warren Moon. Before becoming a Pro Bowl NFL quarterback, Moon starred in the Canadian Football League. The Hall of Fame signal caller made his professional cardboard debut on an oversized black and white 1983 CFL card manufactured by a small Ottawa-based company named Yogo. Moon was one of the most prolific passers in football history. Between 2 professional leagues, Moon threw for over 70,000 yards in his career. Moon was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2006 after being named to 9 Pro Bowl teams during his NFL playing days. This card was produced in limited quantities, likely well under 1,000 copies. Just 27 have been sent into PSA, and there is yet to be a PSA-10. Poor left-to-right centering often hampers this card. Finally, at number 1 on the sleeper list, the 1981 Topps Dan Hampton. Dan Hampton, like most defensive artists, was often overshadowed by the great offensive players of his generation, but his rookie card is the final sleeper on our list. Hampton played all 12 seasons for the Chicago Bears, helping lift them to a Super Bowl title in 1985 alongside teammate Richard Dent. In a very telling statistic, during Hampton's career, the Bears' defense ranked first in fewest rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, total yards, and points from 1979 to 1990. They also had the most quarterback sacks. This 4-time Pro Bowl selection was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2002. Like the Montana rookie in the same set, the 1981 card of this Chicago Bears great is often found with print defects and poor centering. Of the 455 evaluated, just 5 have received the vaunted PSA-10 grade. The last PSA-10 example sold for $4,000. So, there you have it. Our stars and sleepers, 10 elusive PSA-10 football rookie cards of the 1980s. We hope you have enjoyed this quick visual tour. This is Joe Orlando. See you next time.